So hello everybody, this is Bhante Joe here, and I'm actually just here in Sri Lanka in the beautiful forest here, and thought to record a short Owada for the internet, the first one from the Sri Lankan forest. So excuse me a moment, I'm just kind of perched on this rock. And so I thought that maybe you could start with just a little meditation. So can maybe lean forward a bit and arch the spine, and look about 3 feet in front, and close our eyes. And can spread thoughts of goodwill, wishing may all beings to my right-hand side be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can make the mind infinite, can make it unbounded, all the way to the ends of the universe and beyond. In every dimension, may all beings to my right be happy and at ease. And can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right-hand side and our left-hand side. Can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right-hand side, our left-hand side, and in front. Can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right-hand side, our left-hand side, in front and behind. Can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right-hand side, our left-hand side, in front, behind, and above. Can spread thoughts of goodwill to our right-hand side, our left-hand side, in front, behind, above, below, all around in every direction, everywhere. May all beings all around in every direction, everywhere, be happy and at ease. May they put in place the causes necessary to be happy and at ease. And we can make the mind infinite, can make it unbounded, all the way to the ends of the universe and beyond. In every dimension, may all beings all around everywhere be happy and at ease. Okay, and can open our eyes and do a short discussion on the Dhamma. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammāṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. So hello everybody. It's been in Sri Lanka now for about about a month, I guess, in Sri Lanka. And as you can see, it's very stunningly beautiful forest environments that they have here. I feel really fortunate to be here. And the amazing thing is, in a forest like this, there's almost no mosquitoes. No, so I'm sitting here. There's no mosquitoes. No mosquitoes biting me, so it's a really lovely and amazing place to be. And so was emailing with suttas.com, and the gentleman who runs that sent him a message and asked him if he had any thoughts for Dhamma discussion, because thought that I would try to record one. And he came up with some good questions. So one of the first ones he asked was, a lot of people have trouble with setbacks in life and dwelling in the past, and how do people move forward from dwelling in the past? And so there's a couple things that at least come to mind with that. One of them is that one of the reasons that one may dwell in the past is because one has regrets over something that one did in the past that was wrong. And so in that case, what the Buddha recommends is to remember that basically having regrets over the past is not something that will change the past. The past is gone. It's totally irrevocable. In other words, we can never get the past back and make it into the present again, no matter how many times we relive the past. It won't be like that again. And so the thing to do then is, if we've made a mistake in the past, to think to ourselves, okay, yeah, that was a mistake. In the future, I won't make that mistake again, and make that determination not to make it in the future. And the Buddha says that eventually that past karma will ripen. And so long as we're doing good deeds, it ripens in a way that's much less, especially if we're practicing the Brahma-Viharas. And that's when whatever bad things we've done in the past, they come to an end. But if one keeps going back to those bad things and looking them over, ruminating on them, it's kind of like somebody who comes and keeps adding wood to a fire. A fire will just keep burning as long as it has fuel. And in the same way, a person's attachment to the past keeps burning as long as one keeps sending one's mind back to the past to remember what it was like, having regrets over it. That's one way that people might get attached to the past. Of course, there's many. Another possible way is that people might have had a time in their life when they felt they were really happy, things were going really well, and they want to go back to that time. Might have been some really happy time, like maybe people had a great time in high school, a great time in university. Maybe people had a great time with a spouse, and then that changes. It's kind of a setback, and it's kind of the things we really like change, and then we don't have them anymore. One of the ways that a person can kind of counter this is, foremost is the Buddha always recommends to try to keep this contemplation of impermanence in our minds all the time. So he has this teaching on the eight worldly dhammas, which is that there's gain and loss, pleasure and pain, praise and blame, and fame and anonymity. And so these things, these eight worldly things, they kind of spin around the world, and the world spins around them. People rebel against loss and run towards gain. And same with the other ones, praise and blame, all these things. So when a person sends one's mind out to the past, out to remember some memory that might have been really great, and feeling regrets over the fact that it's changed, whatever it was that was really great, then essentially what one's doing is just attaching to this idea of gain. Now, these good four things in the gain or status or fame or whatever it might be. And then sorrowing when that turns into loss. But actually these two things are linked together. A person's delight in gain, delight in whatever good memory, whatever great thing there was, is the same. It's the flip side of the emotion of being sad and sorrowful when that thing falls away from a person. So what one learns to do then is to, number one thing, to remember, okay, wait a minute, this is the way that it always is. Whatever gains I will have, whatever things that are mine, that are delightful to me, all that's going to change. And in the future, it won't be there. Whatever there is in my life is subject to change. It won't last. Same when one's in a position of dire loss, that eventually turns into gain. And when one reflects on this with the proper intentions, what it has the effect of doing is pulling one's mind away from the world. Instead of looking so much at, whether I've got status or praise or fame or whatever it might be, it's how well is my practice of the Dhamma going? In other words, one's mind turns away from something that isn't a good refuge to something that's a true refuge. Because so long as things are going well, so long as one has these happy memories, things seem to be going great, one is happy. And then when they change, one gets sad. They're two sides of the same coin. So this is another way that one can learn to overcome attachments to the past, is to remind oneself that whatever good things that happen, they can turn into bad things. Everything's impermanent. Whatever bad memories there are, whatever terrible things have happened, those can turn into good things. These are also impermanent. And in this way, one learns to detach one's mind from praise and blame, from pleasure and pain, from gain and loss, and from fame and anonymity. Another thing one can do with setbacks, something that didn't work out in one's life, is to remember that basically, we can think about the Buddha's life. And so this is in terms of like if a person tried to do something in the past and it didn't work out. They tried to achieve some beneficial goal, especially if we're thinking of spiritual goals, tried to do something wholesome and it didn't pan out the way that one planned. So if that's the case, then one can think about the Buddha's life. And, obviously the Buddha is the prime example, especially for spiritual achievements. But even if we look at the biographies of all these people in the world who've, had great achievements, the Buddha being foremost spiritual teacher, then all of them faced setbacks. And so in terms of a setback, when we have a good goal like Nibbana, good goal like moving forward in our spiritual practice, a good goal like developing in wholesome qualities, whenever we face a setback in that sense, we can remind ourselves that if there's a wholesome thing happening, there's probably a solution to this. In other words, developing this attitude of kind of tenacity and perseverance. And it's kind of something bad has happened. I tried to make this good thing happen. It didn't work out. Well, maybe I'll try again. Kind of give it another go and see how that works out. Actually, when you stay at monasteries for a period of time, you hear the kind of stories of the senior monks, what they had to go through, especially setting up monasteries in the West. There's always a period of almost always a period of terrible setbacks, where it sometimes seems almost as if the whole project is going to, fall apart. But they kind of persevere through those hard times and keep reminding themselves, I guess, that what they're doing is wholesome. And so in that sense, we can learn to have a good attitude towards setbacks. We don't necessarily have to see a setback as a permanent failure in our spiritual practice. If we try something, it doesn't work, the thing to do then is to evaluate, what did I do wrong and how can I change it? And in this way, one kind of learns how to walk on the path in a straight way. It's like if a person was in a room and was looking for a light switch and there's, chairs and other things there, go one way and one bumps into a chair. Okay, wait a minute, there's something there that's not, that's not a light switch. Maybe somebody hits their head on a doorknob or something. Okay, that's not the light switch. But each time a person does that, they get a sense of what's actually there in the room. And so long as they don't give up, so long as they don't just sit in the dark, if they keep exploring, eventually they get a sense of what the room's like. And the day comes when they find the light switch. And if a person does this kind of thing, it's actually easier for them to explain to other people where the potential pitfalls are. So what you see with a lot of great teachers, they tended to make a lot of mistakes in their spiritual practice, which is why they can explain, to people very well the contours of the room, where the chairs are, where the walls are, because they've stumbled into them themselves. So in this sense, we don't have to see mistakes or setbacks that have happened in the past in our spiritual practice as a failure. We can see them as a sign that that wasn't the right place, and we just have to keep looking. We can take them as a kind of, if we have a blank piece of paper, we're trying to draw a map, and we go off in the wrong direction, we can draw a little line on that map. We know what's there, know not to go there again. So in other words, those are a few kind of thoughts about how to overcome regrets and attachments to the past. That is, for one thing, remembering that basically everything one does is impermanent. It's kind of that things are subject to change. Having this kind of thought in our mind all the time. And another one, remembering about these kind of 8 worldly winds, and kind of, gain and loss, all these various things follow on each other. So whatever it is that, that one likes, that one cares about in the past, those are going to change. And I guess that's all under impermanence. Another one is to remember if we've done something bad in the past, okay, that was a mistake. Remorse won't change that. Letting go of remorse and moving forward in the future. And maybe the last one for today that I can think of would be to remind oneself that whatever kind of setbacks one has faced because of making mistakes, those are things that one can learn from. And kind of like searching through a dark room, bumping into a chair, bumping into a doorknob, and then finally finding the light switch. Because when a person finds the light switch, then one can see. See what one was looking for. And so in the same way in our spiritual practice, if we face setbacks, we keep going forward. The day might come when we find a light switch and we see what we wanted. Okay, so those are some thoughts for today, and hope that everybody has a great day, and wishing you all the best till next time.